Perfect. Okay. Good morning, and how is everybody? Sorry, it took me a little while to get on this morning. Me and technology just don't get along on the best days, it seems like. So, this might sound a little bit paranoid, but it always feels like when it doesn't want to work with me that somebody's inside of it, like messing with it or something. It's just like, oh my gosh, like just work, please. But whatever, that's me and technology on a pretty much daily basis. So, I just wanted to start off this live feed by saying this morning I woke up to a couple of rude comments on my channel. People were just name calling and just not really being very nice, thinking that I had erased some comments that were on my channel. So I just wanted to let everybody know that I keep an open platform purposely to allow everybody to make their own comments so they can, as long as you're not insulting anybody and you're not being sexual and you're not belittling somebody else, whether that's me or another viewer, then there's no reason for me to delete anything, because just because I might not agree with whatever it is that's posted, whatever thought or opinion or theory is posted, doesn't mean that if just because I don't believe it or something, or I don't think that way, doesn't mean I'm going to erase it. So I just wanted all my viewers to know that this I'm not planning on deleting anybody's comments or theories or opinions or thoughts. As long as you're not being degrading to anybody else, then you can go ahead and post whatever it is you'd like. I do have my settings set so that if YouTube headquarters, YouTube head office thinks that it is something spam or thinks that it's something rude or whatever it is, they will hold the comment. So it might show you that you've posted it for a little while, but YouTube will pull it and stick it in a file for me to, when I go onto the site, I have to approve them at that point. So it's not that I'm refraining people from speaking their mind. You can do that. Feel free. That's the whole point here. But I really just didn't want anybody thinking that because I don't agree with you, I'm going to delete it. My policy here is that it's an open platform, so everybody can speak their mind about anything, so long as you're not, being degrading, being rude, being insulting. So hi from Australia. Hi, Mario. So I just wanted to start off this little live feed by stating that. So this is Coffee and Chat with me, Sherry. I like doing these lives because it gives us a chance to sort of interact with each other. So I've been recently following the Making of a Murderer case. Now this is with Stephen Avery. Hey, Critters Heartland, you made it. Waxhaw, North Carolina. Cool. Has the weather gotten better out there? I seem to remember a natural disaster happening in North Carolina not too long ago. I can't remember exactly what it was. I'm just going to shut off this light in the background here. I should have done that before I started. Didn't really realize that it was going to reflect so badly. So, Mario, I am from Canada. So I'm in central Canada. And yes, I love following the trial cases that are of interest to me. Now, what's interesting with this Stephen Avery case is that he was already exonerated. And a lot of us know that already, that he was actually going to start a lawsuit against Manitowoc County for $36 million. And then all of a sudden, they're finding all of this evidence to sort of point to him that he's the murderer of Teresa Halbach. What's really like shocking is that Teresa Halbach's family isn't kind of stepping in to say, like, can we see what's going on? Because maybe the murder of their daughter or their granddaughter, or, whatever is kind of important. And like to find the real killer, like for me, if that was my family member, I would honestly be, no, the real killer, in my opinion, has not been caught yet, Mario. And it was the Hurricane Critters Heartland. Great, that's what it was. So are you guys doing okay over there? Were you hit by that, Critters Heartland? And Mario, no, like it appears as if and okay, so Kathleen Zellner is the hired lawyer now by the Avery family to sort of get to the bottom of this, right? And so if anybody's been on top of Making a Murderer on Netflix, she's actually recreated a lot of the evidence that the state came at them with, stating that this was Stephen Avery's blood that was just near the ignition. Well, she had done a study and testing like over and over and over repeatedly to see if the little cut on Avery's hand would actually smear the blood onto that sheet, right? And she's done that with so many pieces of evidence that it's it's insane. Like the bullet, even shooting that through the barnyard and through the barn wall, sorry, and seeing the bits of wood and the red, paint chips on the bullet fragment itself. Oh, you lost trees to the wind and flooding. I think you have to start with the family too, Mario, because like and I feel bad for Barbara, right? Because her one son is going through this when meanwhile it could have been the other son that actually did it. And there's even some talk that possibly her husband, Scott Taddick, might have had some involvement. But I mean, there's nothing really, you know, securely pointing at Scott, right? So Stephen Avery was a horrific father. I did hear about some of his previous, like I was reading his file because it's public information. Some of his previous offenses were pretty brutal. I don't know. I'm a big animal lover, so I don't know. When I hear that somebody's hurt an animal, I kind of I feel like I almost start to judge at that point. Like maybe this person's potentially a psychopath, or they, could turn into a serial killer, or they're fascinated with, pain and death and hurting something. And like I guess I kind of judge that in a sense. So but at the same time, Stephen Avery's personality has always been the kind to sort of step forward and say, you know what, it was me. I did do that. And all right, I'll go to jail, or I'll pay the fine, or I'll do whatever I got to do to, dismiss it afterwards, kind of thing. Like, okay, I did that and I paid for it. So now it's over. Right. But, you know, I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess we're all young and dumb at some points, but some are a little bit more extreme than others. And I think his was a little extreme. Now, but the evidence, though, you guys, it's not pointing towards Stephen Avery. It's really not, like so it's hard to continue to blame somebody when the evidence is showing otherwise. Because we can have all opinions in the world about what we think about this guy, but what's the evidence actually say, right? And the fact that he had bled from that cut on his finger, he bled in the bathroom, and then the forensic lab that did the testing of the blood flakes that were supposedly on the floor, kind of in between the console, like, blood doesn't usually flake. Maybe after it cauterizes and stuff, it might dry and flake off a bit. But the way that the forensics lab from the state side said that they had done testing, it was flakes of blood. So Kathleen Zellner goes and recreates the blood stains in the bathroom and tries picking it off with different things. And sure enough, with a sharp enough object, you can actually flake the blood droplets on the ceramic sink. You can actually flake those right off. Like they don't stick, they don't smear. Once it's dry, it's pretty easy to get it off, and it's a pretty clean cleanup at that point. You know what I mean? You do find them fascinating. I know, me too. Yeah, you know what though? I'm following the evidence, Mario, because there's just you can't go on anything else. The state may not like this family, and we might not like some of the choices that some of these people have made or whatever, but the evidence is showing that he's not the guilty party to this crime. So it's a huge injustice to have him continuously sitting in jail, waiting for a re-day in trial, like a court date, right? But I think it's kind of ironic that after he pulls out that lawsuit for $36 million, they're suddenly, um, refinding him guilty of a crime in order to put him away. That's a pretty big payout, right? And that was from spending 18 years wrongfully convicted for a rape charge that he actually didn't do. And when DNA came out, it exonerated him, right? So, to have a $36 million lawsuit on that 18-year span, you can imagine how much more of a financial lawsuit would be slapped against them for losing another, excuse me, 12 years or so, right? Like, yeah, there was a really good reason, Curtis Heartland, for Teresa Hallbeck to be on the property. And that wasn't even her first time being there. She had been there before, which makes sense. They have a salvage yard, so they fix up cars and then they put them online for sale in the Auto Trader, and that's how they make money. Like, it makes sense. That all pieces together just fine. Now, Brendan Dassey's brother, Bobby, he had a lot of a sick, twisted mind. The way that he had downloaded the porn and the brutal, he had choking and decapitating women, and he had like brutal photos and hundreds of thousands of these things where he had spent like hours kind of studying this. It wasn't just something he looked up randomly every so often. He sort of did this regularly. There was thousands of hours, close to 3,000 pages of information of him searching for these kind of heinous acts, and like how to kill somebody, and like how, like all these crazy photos that normal people really wouldn't be putting in their mind. And here he's sitting in the courtroom just listening to all of this unfold, watching his brother get put away for something that possibly he did. I mean, wow. Has anybody watched the entire Making a Murderer? Because I did get a chance to watch the whole thing. Now you can tell that it's not over yet, though, because Kathleen Zellner hasn't yet gotten her day in court to argue all of these, to present her evidence that's pointing to other people other than Stephen Avery. I think he might be innocent because of the evidence, Critters Heartland. I don't want to, make the state have to pay him or something, or I don't want them to, get in trouble for something that they actually didn't do. But there's so much proof that the evidence that was brought against him in the Teresa Hallbeck murder was planted. It was not like set in stone. It was not concrete, and then there was things that were kind of withheld, and it just, it was a huge injustice the way that it went through the court system. And I'm shocked that there isn't a judge yet. But I mean, I guess in that small of a county with that huge of a civil lawsuit against them, I honestly think that could literally bankrupt Manitowoc County. Like, they would just literally have to close up. Like, they wouldn't be able to afford to pay Stephen Avery even close to that $36 million, in my opinion. I think they'd have to start borrowing federally and stuff. Like, they'd have to get help in order to pay that out. And I mean, what other state is going to want to pick up for, their stupidity, or because, they mishandled things? This happens, I think, getting smarter. I think they're going to keep doing the same thing, typically killer shit. Yeah, even the way that the fact that her vehicle was found on his property, her vehicle wasn't damaged before it got to his property, and it was found by the police. So who put it there, right? Somebody had to have put it there and damaged it in the process of putting it there. And Kathleen Zellner she really wants to dig more into that, because there was a tail light, or a front headlight, a corner piece that was kind of completely ripped off. And the license plate was found in a different area. Shelly, hi. We're talking about Stephen Avery case right now. You started the making of a murderer. You'll finish it. You know what? It's really good, but it's not over yet. So you're going to get to the end of it and it's still kind of open. Um, she's still, Kathleen Zellner has to be able to present her evidence to another judge, and the state prosecutor just keeps blocking every chance, and trying to say that it's just a huge painful thing for the Hallbuck family to continue reliving. Well, if you would have just done your investigation right the first time, in my opinion, nobody would be having to relive this. And if I was Hallbuck's family, I would have a freaking lawsuit out against this damn county too. Are you kidding me? You mishandled my family member's murder like this, and spread out evidence, spread out her bones. Like, who the hell are you to do something like that to anybody's body? Like, for real. And then to not call the coroner in, not allow the person who's the highest of officials to come in to check the body and document it and, get testing done on it to find out who it is and all of that stuff. None of that was followed. The procedure was just completely fucking ignored. Excuse my language. But it was completely ignored. Like, it didn't even matter. She even had to the coroner found out from the TV that there was even somebody dead, that there was bones found. So she's calling up the county like, can I come down to this site? Like, I'd like to check out what's going on. And sure enough, they tell her, no, it's closed. So they call her in the morning and she goes in and they tell her that if she goes down to the site, she does anything with the site or does anything at all, she's going to be arrested. Meanwhile, she's the highest of official and technically could arrest all of them. That didn't happen. Why? Probably because it's a small county. She seems like a little bit of like she got intimidated by people in that county, by prosecutors, by the lawyers, by authorities, to stay out of it and not to get involved, which is completely unfair. Hallbuck's family should be on this like white on rice, in my opinion. It's a huge injustice to allow the prosecutor to continue blocking something that it might not even be the right people that are sitting in jail. So the person that really did do it has just been walking around all this time. Have they done that again? Have they killed anybody else? You just think that's okay to let them go free because you didn't like Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey? Like, I don't think that that's okay. That's brutal. And that's a huge injustice to Teresa Hallbuck. She must just be rolling over in her grave looking at how all of this unfolded. These poor guys, in my opinion, are sitting there for something that they didn't even do. So, and if Kathleen Zellner has all that evidence against showing it's someone else, why doesn't a judge want to hear this? Because there'll be another civil lawsuit that'll come out of this. Are you kidding me? Like, Stephen Avery will just wipe the floor with, picking up all their money. I that's what I see this as, is it's just such a huge corruption. And it started from so far back. The higher ups don't want to have to fix it because then that means the entire domino effect is going to happen and everybody's freaking screwed. Like, everybody, right? Sorry, I got a few things to catch up on because it kind of went into a ramble there. So much info out there. Yeah, but you know what, Mario? You have to look at the evidence. Forget about the info. Forget about the opinions. Forget about all of that. Only look at the evidence and where his blood was found, where her body was found, where the cadaver dogs found and sniffed out her final moments, and where she was. They even stopped on a piece of property, alerting that this was one of the spots that her body was, and they didn't look into any of that. And, Kathleen Zellner is finding this out and recreating a lot of these things and asking those hard questions to those bigger, higher up officials, because they should be held accountable. Just because you're in a power position doesn't mean that you should have the right to take advantage of it or, abuse that. Like, come on. You have people's lives in your hands. Are you for real? How do you sleep at night when you know that you put somebody away that maybe didn't even do this? All because you don't want to have to pay for something that you did years ago? I mean, that's a lot of life to take away. So much info out there, they're dumb enough to play in it to basic shit. We all know DNA. Yeah, exactly, right? But I mean, DNA is what helped Stephen Avery get exonerated from the wrongful rape conviction. And now he's convicted of not only, brutally raping, but decapitating and murdering a woman. Do you really think after 18 years of him being behind bars, he would want to go and do something like that? After only 2 years of freedom, he's going to go back for life? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, like logically. But at the same time, forget all that and just look at the evidence, because the evidence speaks for itself. Law enforcement did have their eyes on him. They sure as hell did. It's as if they never accepted his being innocent from the first incarceration. Well, yeah, well they were probably really pissed off that did, because back in the day before DNA testing and the labs and all that, it was kind of more concrete. If they thought that you did something wrong, well, you went to court and you got your case spoken, and if they agreed, well, then you know you're going to go to jail for whether or not you did do it, right? So to have the DNA kind of come into play that many years later and be able to exonerate him and say, you know what, this guy really 100% did not commit this crime, all because some swabs and DNA was kept on file. I mean, thank goodness for that, right? Because I don't even think that we would have known that kind of technology was even coming, right? So thank goodness that we had a policy or protocol of keeping evidence, in boxes and in things to preserve it, right? So that when technology grew enough, they were able to go back, right? So that was kind of cool, but. No, she was a photographer. Yeah, she was a photographer, and she went and took pictures on the Avery's salvage yard many times. That was a regular thing. Like they had a relationship like that. There was no reason why she shouldn't have been there, right? And it was very quick from Avery's description. And like I say, he sounds like he's innocent, but that doesn't matter. Um, Yeah, Mario, I think, they do prey on people who they don't necessarily like. They maybe didn't like their family, or, something about them growing up, or had encounters with them in school and it just carried on into adulthood. Maybe they were bullied, or whatever the case may be. But that's still no excuse to just turn around and take someone's life away. Thank you guys so much for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It's very, very sad. Do they think they can even get away with it? Well, clearly, Tammy, they are getting away with it. And if the judges don't even want to allow the case in to be heard again, I feel like they're kind of an accomplice at that point at continuing this fiasco. Like they should be, those are the highest of officials to decide about your life. So yes, they should. Like that Seventh Circuit judge panel ended up going with Kathleen Zellner's side, but she has to get this into, to federal court. She's got to get this into the Supreme Court. So yeah, they don't care, but they definitely care about the payout that they'd have to. Hi, Annie. I'm doing okay. Thanks, hon. Kratz is just ridiculous, that guy. Did you guys see? I don't know how many of you have watched it all, but did you see the look on his face when the coroner was called to the stand, and the dirty look that he was giving the coroner was just brutal? Like, holy, if looks could kill, she would have been dead right then and there. Like, holy. But it's sad, Mario, that they don't care about what's been going on for decades, because they have the power to care. Now, I get that it's probably a huge amount of work to re-look at an entire case. You guys, I get tired just reading the public documents on the court filing and stuff. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's a lot. So I can't imagine having to go through all of that for the entire thing. It's got to be huge. But at the same time, it's involving, people's lives, like too, Brennan and Stephen, right? Hey, Jimmy. last night about female LA police officers who was arrested over DNA evidence she left behind during a murder she committed in 86. See? You know what I heard too, you guys? Is that ancestry.com thing, they're actually running DNA that gets sent into them, which is cool, right? Because they're finding people who have committed crimes years ago that were never caught. And the people who are sending in their DNA are doing that voluntarily. So you're already giving it to the authority in a sense. And so they're running it in the database to see if it matches anything that comes up from all the cases that are sitting cold cases, all that evidence that's, got pulled out and little pieces got sort of listed where DNA shows they don't have a match to that. Well, now people are throwing their DNA at them. They're running that and they're matching, if it is matchable, they're matching people up with crimes. So I thought that was really cool. I didn't know if you guys knew that or not, but I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, honestly, I feel like you could get away with it for a while. You might even get away with it for a lifetime here on Earth, but eventually you're going to have to meet your maker and you're going to have to, pay for your sin in a way, right? Or whatever, your wrongdoing. So thankful for a miracle of DNA. No kidding, right? Like, seriously. Yeah, DNA testing has been huge, right? You don't agree? That's okay. I'll show your comment. That's all right. You don't agree at all, man. Pisses you off too. But if you're looking to killer, I mean, I get it if you're a killer, right? But if you had a finger pointed at you that you are a killer and you aren't, like, that's pretty huge. Think of that happening to you, Mario, where somebody accuses you of something and then you just get put behind bars for it because all the evidence shows that it's you. Meanwhile, people set you up for that. I mean, that's brutal. If you are a sick killer, yeah, you should be locked up. Honestly, that's a no-brainer. That's common sense. But we're talking about people who we think aren't because of the evidence pointing not at them. I know. I think Mario disagrees. I think he's disagreeing about Brennan and Steven. Maybe he thinks that they are a killer, which is fine if you think that. That's the good part about my platform here, you guys, is that it doesn't really matter if you disagree or if I disagree. I'm not going to get mad at you. And I would hope you're not going to get mad at me. We can just talk about it civilly, right? But Annie, I totally agree. My heart breaks for that kid, Brendan. And the fact that Barb was trying to even ask the officers way back when this all started in 2005, are you pressuring him? Are you, kind of are you pushing him to say this stuff, And they kind of flat out look at her and say, hey, we've been doing this for years and we know when people are lying. And, they should have allowed her in the room based on a murder charge. Okay. It's not like it was just theft or whatever. It's not like he stole a candy bar. They're trying to say he killed somebody. I would think that you would need an adult in there. I don't agree that they allowed her to sort of sign away her right to go in there and let him go in there by himself, But almost all of us probably would have listened to the freaking person because they're of authority and we're supposed to be able to trust those people. So to know that he was just, being evil, in my opinion, and, just wrong in putting words into this kid's mouth and sort of ideas in his mind and making him sort of come up with this statement of, seeing this murder happen and stuff like that, I think is brutal. They should have allowed his mother in there to listen to, and that should have been videoed. Like the idiot Chris Watts, he thought he was going to get away with it. Yeah, you know what, Tammy? I think he might have thought he was going to get away with that. I don't think he anticipated the media, swarming as much as they did after he lied, right? It sure didn't take long to kind of pick that apart, right? It's nice that we can agree to disagree here. Absolutely agree. Because who am I to tell you that you're wrong in your thought or your opinion? And vice versa, who are you to tell me I'm wrong in my thought or my opinion, right? Ted Bundy was a crazy situation too. Yes, yeah, Tammy, I agree. That's the part that scares me so much is that everybody looks so freaking normal. And it's like, oh, it makes me not want to breathe around people. I'm just like, who's next to be, the psycho or whatever? I'm just saying they're never typical devil looking. Yes, it's very true, Mario. Thank God for her friend Nicole. No kidding, right? But I also wonder, like, how did she know that Shanann had missed her doctor's appointment? That was really odd. That's a little tidbit that I wish I had an answer to because she says that she dropped her off, but then she also states that she knew that Shanann missed her doctor's appointment. Like, I don't know a doctor's office in the world who's going to call somebody's friend and say your friend missed her appointment. Usually it just gets rescheduled or they contact the person who missed the appointment. If even that, most of the time it has to be the person who made the damn appointment that has to contact them and say, oops, sorry, I missed it. Can I reschedule? So Nicole nipped his plan to get away with it. Yeah, that's pretty possible. They need a dot on their forehead. Oh my goodness, Tammy, you're mean. I try not to think too racistly about any race at all. Like but I get the stigmas and stuff. I understand that. That's why I always say, oh, I'm blonde. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm stupid, but I have my moments, But I understand the stigma of what you're trying to say. Hopefully you're chuckling over on your end too. Ted Bundy was considered handsome. Yeah, but maybe back in his day he was, which is just it's just scary. Like you just don't even know. I would hope to God that we have that inner feeling that tells us in our gut that something's wrong and that we'd all listen to it. But let's face it, we're human and a lot of us push those feelings away like, it's nothing. Meanwhile, it was something pretty big, right? And you could lose your life with that person. So I wish I was in that room when they were interrogating him into a false confession. Yeah, no kidding. It is uncomfortable to watch. Yes, if you have a son, you would absolutely worry, right? Like I totally get it. Yeah, Tammy, maybe she had a gut feeling, but I think it is a little bit weird that she knew that, Not like just so we know good and bad. Yeah. Yes, you're laughing your butt off. Nice. I love it. You've got to go, Jimmy. Okay, have a great day. Thanks for tuning in and watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Lots of smiles and good fresh air or something, Good times. Got to make the best of your day, right? That bothers me, the doctor's appointment. Yeah. Like, I don't understand how unless you know what, just what you just said, Critters Heartland there. Two friends have a business lunch date. Maybe they did have a lunch date and she never made it to that, so that's what tuned her in to that she missed her doctor's appointment. That we're all guessing at that point for that, but getting a lift. Do Americans still get to do that? Do Americans still get to do what? Sorry, Mario? Getting a lift? Oh, you mean like getting a ride? Like in somebody's car? Yeah, because like she was getting home in the middle of the night. If you're talking about Shanann, she was getting home in the middle of the night from her trip, right? So her friend was picking her up from the airport. Have not heard that they were to meet. I have not heard anything about them meeting either, but because you just mentioned that, I thought, well, maybe they were getting together that morning and then she just, like maybe they made plans in the car when she dropped her off at 2 a.m., but it just something doesn't add up there for some reason for me. She knew her day was going to be like. It's possible, but then how did she know that she missed her appointment? Even if Shanann told her when she was dropping her off, yeah, I got a doctor's appointment later, maybe I'll call you tonight or something. Like, how did she even know that she missed that appointment, though? Yeah, I know, right? It's just got to bounce it back and forth to try to understand it or make some sense of it, I guess. No one really gives that info out. That's why I'm trying to piece that together as to how that really even happened, you know? How would her friend have known that she missed that appointment? So it makes me wonder if her friend and her husband weren't doing something behind Shanann's back. What's the HIPAA law or HIPAA law? I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. What am I drinking? I'm having coffee. That's why I call it coffee, like C and C with Sherry. coffee and coffee and chat. Sorry, I hate it when the coloring goes all yellow on me. And I have fluorescent lights in here, so there's no reason it should be yellow. I know I'm white, but come on. My husband isn't aware. See, exactly. Like your own husband isn't even aware that when you miss a friggin' doctor's appointment. So how did her best friend know? You know, it is medical privacy law. Is that the HIPAA law? Is that what you're talking about? I don't know the abbreviation and stuff and what that necessarily means, but we have that here too. It's patient doctor confidentiality kind of thing. It's like nobody's going to call somebody and say, "Hey, by the way, this person missed their appointment." That is what HIPAA is. Okay. It's medical privacy. Okay. Because it's different abbreviations for the states versus Canada, right? Excuse me. But honestly, there's so many things that just don't really add up there. And then somebody had mentioned that Chris Watts's dad isn't actually going to court appearances and stuff like that, but we all still think that he might have some sort of connection to authorities, right? Where he might have some connection with law enforcement or something. So my suspicion is that Chris Watts's dad is just kind of helping with the financial aspect of it. And his lawyer might be like legal aid or whatever it's called in the States there. But I feel that he wouldn't be working as hard as he is probably if he wasn't receiving some funds. And that's probably from Chris Watts's family to pay for his freedom, in a sense, his innocence, I guess. I don't know. Like, I mean, I have to see more evidence in order to say that that's what he's even paying for, because I haven't seen enough evidence to really even say one way or another if Chris Watts is guilty or if he's innocent. I know. I totally agree with you, Tammy. I know. I just wish I had some more concrete evidence to be able to say for 1000% sure that it was him. I mean, there's just too many unanswered questions as to, whether horrifically or not, Shanann had a hand in this. I don't know. Hi, Holly. Yes, I know, Holly. Many people think he is guilty all the way. I'd like to see the evidence personally. If Nicole popped into the doctor's office, that's a possibility, Critters Heartland. Maybe that's something that happened. Yeah, Tammy. I just would like to see the evidence, before I sort of concretely make up my mind which way that should go. I mean, heaven forbid, but what if some of his story's right? What if she had a hand in some of this or something? Like, I don't know. Holly, I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking. I've been dealing with a lot of depression lately, but whatever. I'm pulling through it and trying to just find other things to focus on, because it's just so easy to stay in that depression, right? That's actually why I decided to do like a second live weekly, was just to spend a little bit more time interacting with you guys and focusing on other things. My personal family life is not the greatest, and holidays and people's birthdays come and go, and then I just find myself getting pretty down, and it's hard sometimes. Many mornings of crying, we're going, okay, we're not going to have a whole day like this. We're going to get it together. So time of the year too. Absolutely. I do use CBD for my depression. I love my CBD. I use it in the flower form. I don't use it in the oil form, mostly because I don't really like the taste of the oil form. But there is actually marijuana flower that's no THC, that's just CBD, and it's amazing. I love that stuff. I mean, seriously, it doesn't. I don't feel high, so I don't feel groggy or anything. I just feel my pain alleviate. It's just gone. It's temporary, but hey, Christine, how are ya? Depression is awful, Annie. Yes, yeah, thank you so much. You love me. You're gonna make me cry. I'm such a sap. I'm like, oh, like I seriously cry at Shark Tank, you guys. Somebody gets a wicked deal, and I'm like, good for you. I'm clapping. I'm such a sap sometimes. In my older years, I noticed that crying is a lot easier than in my younger years. I was far angrier in my younger years, and probably because I didn't let those tears out as often as I should have. But your daughter suffers extreme, can't get out of the house. Oh, that's sad. Oh, that's too bad. I try to force myself sometimes, even if it's just to go step out on the front stairs to just grab some fresh air, to just get a different look at the sky for a while, just get a different perspective, just go for a walk or whatever. Tammy, don't make me feel comfortable. You're going to make me cry. you know, Things like that touch my heart. And then I get all sensitive and then I'm like, oh, aw, thanks, Nancy. You guys, I knew it. You guys are sweet. Thanks. Seriously. Oh, thanks. See, I gotta focus on something else now because you guys are making me all like sappy. Seriously. Everyone's gonna start logging off. We do not need to see this. Well, thank you. I try to work hard at it, you guys. Thanks. All right, we gotta change the subject. But yeah, some days are harder than others, but you guys are sweet, so thank you for that. Aw. Aw. Thank you so much for your guys' support. I'm sorry. Now it's a chain effect. Everyone's gonna be like grabbing Kleenexes and I do have an optimistic attitude, Holly. I refuse to sort of stick on the bad. I think that's because I was kind of so depressed, throughout my younger years, and I did focus a lot on that. And sometimes I find myself going backwards to that. It's sometimes hard to put it into check that hey, that's something that might have happened in the past, or that's something you went through and it might have been traumatic or hard or painful or hurtful or whatever it was, but you have to move past it. You have to move forward, or you're just not doing yourself any favors. You're going to just stay stuck in a negative environment. And how do you get out of that, right? Like, so I find a lot of it's like self-talk, being positive, picking myself up. Back to POS. What is POS, Tim? Hey, Chef Betsy. Sorry, you may come in at a bad time. You're like, what's going on here? Is she crying? Yes, I was like, I got a little teary because everybody got all sweet on me and stuff. So that touched my heart. Anything that touches my heart, I'm just like, ah. So, yeah, you guys are the best, honestly. Good tears. That's for sure. That's true. Yes. Love and hit the like and thumbs up. Aw, thanks, Critters Heartland. That's sweet of you. Hot flash? No, I actually did get a little bit misty-eyed now here today. Oh, piece of shit. I'm like POS. What? I'm so bad with abbreviations sometimes. Yeah, no hot flash. Just got a little teary-eyed because everybody's being all sweet to me this morning, and I'm like, oh, just touches my heart. So thanks, guys. Yes, Alice. That's sweet. I think I accidentally added you as a moderator, Alice. Yes, no, I know. I didn't think that was directed at me at all. It was because I was like, let's change the subject. And she's like, yeah, let's go back to that POS. And I'm like, huh? But yes, no, I totally agree. But you guys are great. Now that I'm not so teary eyed, I feel like I can confidently tell you guys I really do love you guys too. And I feel like this is a good thing that I do here. I like it. I enjoy it. And if I enjoy it, then I'm going to go with it. Like, you know, aw, thanks, Chef Betsy. Tammy. Hitting the like brings new people to this chat. Oh, I didn't know that, Critters Heartland. Alice. Are we having a pre-party before Watt's trial? Yeah. Yeah, no kidding, eh? No, I've actually never been to Colorado. I really wanted to go down for his trial. I don't know if I'll be able to do that in the time frame before it actually is over, but I would like to travel a little bit. I just financially am a little bit held back right now. So, but hopefully in some time, with this continuing, I'll be able to afford to do that, and then I'll be able to get you guys live footage from me, where it's not just live footage that I found from the news people that were there or something. Yeah, that would be great to visit the UK, Annie. I kind of picture the UK as like royal land or something, just because I think that's where the Queen is from. I think England, and I don't know. There's something in the UK that's big. And now I'm going to sound stupid. See, there's some things I don't know anything about. There's other things I know a lot about. You're going to be there next week for a wedding. Ooh, lucky you. I've never been to a wedding in my life, actually. What should we drink? Well, I like red wine. I'm kind of a red wine connoisseur. I like white once in a while too. We spent 2 weeks in is that Estates Park or Etsy's Park or something? I don't know how to pronounce that, if that's spelled right. ESTEZ or TES, sorry. They have to show what he did and make the jury believe it. They do. And they have to show all their evidence to the defense to give them a chance to rebuttal, like to build a defense against that. And that's kind of one of the confusion parts right now, is people are wondering if the prosecution has given, the defense more or less is wondering if the prosecution has given over everything that they say that they have. Hey, Johnny B. Yay! I'm so glad you're hoping to see me today. I'm so glad you just missed the misty eyed stuff. Hopefully that was just me and the ladies. Yes, I totally understand, Ellen Armstrong. It's very upsetting, Stanley Hotel is. Oh, okay. It was worth the wait, Alice. Yeah, 35 years. Wow. So, are there mountains out in Colorado? I think I had seen some in Shanann Watts's videos, but I can't quite remember right now. Went to the top of the Pikes Peak. Cool. It's at the base of the Rocky Mountains. Okay, so if Rocky Mountains are in Colorado, then they definitely have mountains out there. That's so cool. We have mountains here in Canada, but it's in BC, and it's cloudy there a lot. Like, people who live there say it's cloudy like 80% of the time, 90% of the time. Which makes it like not as pretty to look at, right? They just look like, I know, the mountains are gorgeous. I totally agree with you. I saw them this summer for the first time in my life. I took a little trip out to BC to go buy a vehicle, actually, do a little road trip. And I was fascinated, you guys. I was sitting on the bus going out to BC, and I had fallen asleep at one point. And when I woke up, like I had fallen asleep where it was flat land. When I woke up, I looked out the window and it was just a massive mountain right in front of my face, to the point that I literally gasped, like, and I'm trying to like tap the person beside me that I don't even know, like, look, and people are looking at me like, where are you from? Have you been living under a damn rock? I'm just like, pretty much, you know, I just kind of had a really sheltered life, and I've never seen a mountain, not in real life. And I was blown away at how huge it was. It was absolutely gorgeous, unbelievable. I mean, wow. But to have to look at that all the time in the cloudy, murky kind of a weather thing, I could imagine that being depressing, right? Because cloudy weather like that is just so depressing. Hey, Francine, it would be awesome for you to report directly from the trial. I would love to report directly from the trial. I'm not sure that they're even going to allow anybody in the trial right now, because so many news crews are even trying to file motions to get their permission to be allowed in there. And those at this point have all been denied. So it's like they're not really allowing anybody in there. I'd be lucky to maybe catch something from the window of him walking into the courtroom or something, maybe. I don't know what they'll allow once we actually get to court, you know, once we actually start the trial, right? Let's hope that he's actually going to do his plea bargain on the 19th, but I don't think the arraignment's going to be done by that time. I feel like it's just going to carry on into, you know, December, where we might hear a plea at that point. But called Mile High City in Denver. No kidding. Is that ever cool? Purple Mountains. No way. That's so cool, Alice. You should send me a picture of that. I mean, it doesn't do it justice compared to real life, but I'd love to see that. I didn't know mountains had different colors. I thought it was just like white and then rocks and stuff, right? Some greens, some darks, some grays. Purple. I'm like, what? That's so cool. That's one of my favorite colors. Colorado mountains are as beautiful as being in Alaska, in my humble opinion. I've never been there either, but another really cool place to have to check out for sure because of the polar bears. I almost said poly bears. Polar bears. What's wrong? Help. Get you out of depression helps. Oh, yes. Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's why I go for a walk. We have a really nice island here, and I know that sounds weird because it's just an island on land. It's you take a little bridge, you go from one side to the other, now you're on the island. So there's no water around it or anything like that. It's prairie land, so it's all surrounded by fields and a little bit of like kind of bushy area, but nothing like forest or anything, right? So I'll often go out there and walk around because it's just really, really pretty there. And it feels like you're in a different place, you know, where you can just sort of admire the nature and listen to the birds. I am on Instagram. I'm not on there often, but I do share all my videos on there. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, I think MySpace, but I'm not really on that one very much at all either. And then I'm on the WK, the OK, Tumblr, and then Facebook, and then YouTube, Insta, Twitter, all of that. So, and it's all just by my name. So if you just look up my name as you guys see it on here, that's my name. So. Is it true in all Colorado cases, privacy to the defendant? Well, no, because there's been a lot of cases out there that have been public information, you know, so it's really odd that his case is so private. That's what we're all kind of confused about. You could follow me on Instagram. Sure, Holly. Is it just your name, Holly Solomon? They still have MySpace. You know what? I looked it up because I was looking for Shanann because I thought she might have been on there doing some things when technology first came out. But yeah, it is pretty. It's an old app, right? Like not, but it is still running. So I couldn't find anything of hers on there though. No, I don't live in BC. I live in central Canada. I'm in Manitoba. So I went to BC to go and buy a vehicle and drive it back home because I thought that would be a great way to combine seeing the mountains for the first time in my life. And I needed, it's okay. I better write that down, Holly, or I might forget. Holly. Well, I'll definitely forget the spelling of your last name, darling, if I don't write it down. So yeah, I'll find you, girl. Medical privacy. Okay, well, there is medical privacy, and I'm pretty sure that's kind of pretty much worldwide. Well, definitely for like our countries, you know. I don't know about like third world stuff, if they would hold your info as private. I have no idea. Manitoba, how far is that from BC? It's about 3,300, 3,400 kilometers. So it took me about, well, it took me about a day and a half to drive it, but the bus took like 2.5 days to get out there because of all the stops and stuff like that. I thought it would be a nice way. You fell in love, Alice. We've all done that. What have we all done? Sorry, I missed something, Alice. You're in, yeah, North Carolina. Critters Heartland is, Nancy. It's beautiful out there too, you guys. I know. I was just asking about the hurricane. Well, I couldn't remember exactly what natural disasters had happened, but I'm not an attorney, Ellen. I graduated being a legal assistant, so I could work with attorneys. I can't give legal advice, but I do have some knowledge in the field. Yeah, I'm actually really proud of that. If you look, probably about 4 or 5 videos ago, I did actually show my test scores and stuff like that. I had done a little video about sort of my qualifications to kind of talk about some of this stuff in a way, you know. But I mean, I think that freedom of speech is freedom of speech, though, within reason, you know. Catskill Mountains in New York. So is there mountains out there too, then, Christine? Yeah, North Carolina is beautiful. Oh, so you must have fell in love with a place then, is what you're meaning, Alice, because I had missed something in the comments there with you guys, but tons of, yeah, she would, yeah. Her brother is a tax attorney. That's pretty cool. CPA, lots of details. Yes, there is a ton of details. That's something I noticed about the legal field. My favorite areas of the legal field were criminal law, family law, corporate law. That's the parts that I really didn't like as much were immigration law and real estate law. I found those to be kind of boring, I guess you want to say. You know, there's a lot of paperwork to it and a lot of different avenues to know, but there's a lot of different avenues to know in every legal field. Like it branches out. It's like, you know, the criminal has, you know, this and then this and then this, and it branches down into so much, you guys. Even when you're talking about going into like, you know, bylaws and stuff, like this, just brutal how much branches of legal fields you can go into starting out with one question. You know, it can lead you so far down. Hey, Patricia. Sturgis, South Dakota. Cool. Critters Heartland. Don't worry about your typos. That's all right. Used to be the honeymoon capital. Was it? That's cool. Real estate, yes, it is just, oh my gosh. I mean, it's huge, real estate. He's 64 and wants to retire. Yeah, be a trainer for working out. Hey, that's kind of cool, right? Do something that you really like to and you enjoy spending your free time doing. That's good, for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Here in Manitoba, the weather's fluctuates pretty crazily. If anybody follows me on Facebook, I do post pretty regularly how our weather is doing. It goes from like snowing one day, leaving us a couple inches, to like completely melted the next day, to rain, to, you know, to snow again. Like it's just like, what the heck? Manitoba can't seem to make up its mind with its weather. Yeah, I could imagine him being burnt out at 64 years old. You know, the legal field is taxing, I'll say, right? I mean, yeah, it's a lot of work and you've got a lot of responsibility in your hand. It's kind of the reason why I didn't really go into the field. I wanted it more for my own personal knowledge versus maybe working in it, you know? And if I did work in it, I think I'd want to work with somebody who's either criminal or family. Corporate would be okay too, though, you know? Like, it's just there's a lot to know about corporate as well. There's, like I say, you guys, there's a lot to know about every aspect of it. It's really, I spent my, an entire year literally had no life. All I did was work full time and then came home and I was school full time. Like, I barely took my cats outside, like there was no time for barely eating or sleeping, to be honest with you. I was so overworked and I just wanted to get through it. And it was for my personal family issues that I was going to use it, only to find out in the end that I didn't actually need it. Like, it wasn't actually going to be something I exercised and used, against my family and stuff like that. So yeah, it was kind of it's a good asset to have, don't get me wrong, because there's so much information. It does help. Hotspot. What did Johnny be? I should be a PI, I think. I think you would make a super one unsuspecting. Oh, that's kind of an interesting alley. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. They are investigating. They just don't have to tell us, right? It's 4 different mountains around us. Hey, that's pretty cool, Christine. I think she said she lives in New York, and there's mountains out there too. Oh, you got to leave? That's okay, Critters Heartland. It's been awesome for you to. Your refrigerator light bulb is lonely. You're hilarious. You have to go to the grocery store. I totally understand. I do have to do a grocery run myself. So take care, Critters Heartland. Thanks so much for joining and being so awesome. I really appreciate your support and viewing and all of that. Just interacting together. It's really, really great. Chef, how about we all travel to Colorado, rent a big Airbnb, I'll cook. Hey, that's perfect. You are the chef. I'd be right in there. What are you using? How much of that? Hopefully you're not one of those chefs that's like, I don't know the measurements. I just know how it goes together. Heard that a lot from like my Oma when I was younger, because she didn't measure anything. She just kept throwing things in. And she knew the right amounts and stuff. So yeah, hike to the foothills all day. That would be awesome. Keep our figures. That'd be great. Whilst, I don't know, I think people say whilst because they don't want to put in 2 words or something. But yeah, we do use that word sometimes. It would be fun to be a private investigator. I would think so too. Plus, you'd get to do a lot of traveling and spying on things and people. And catch you here for sure later, Curtis Heartland. Thanks again for coming, hun. Totally appreciate it. Nancy's like, when are we going? Ellen, okay, well, excuse me. I love my ice water, you guys. I think it helps my skin too, to be honest. But, this has been a really great chat. And I just want to thank all of you guys for coming in and saying hi and supporting me and chatting together. And, I really enjoy that we do this twice a week, coffee and chat. Fell in love with the mountains. All right, Alice, take care, hun. Have a great day. Come to Ottawa. Well, that's in Canada. That could be kind of doable for me, 3 rivers, 2 mountains, range of haunted courthouses. Hey, that's kind of cool. Downtown is loaded with heritage. That's awesome. I am that kind of chef. Ah, shoot. Darn it. It's like, how do you copy that? You can't. And then because you don't know what the person's looking for consistency wise and stuff, it's just impossible. And then you can never recreate it. That's a great way for you to make sure you stay around forever in someone's life, hey? Don't ever give them the recipe. That's funny. Yeah, that's what she's saying. She doesn't use recipes, but that's how my grandma was too. I don't know. She just threw things together and I'd be right over her shoulder, like, well, how much of that? And what? Like, no, she just didn't. I know, right, Nancy? I know. Yeah, that's talent, that's for sure. Sheesh. But yeah, I would love to definitely do some traveling. I find it probably would be easier to travel within Canada to begin with because you don't need a passport, kind of like you guys in the States, you don't need a passport to go from state to state, you know. So from province to province here, I don't need a passport. I could just sort of, travel along and see different places. So am I watching The Handmaiden Tale? No, but I will check it out, girl. Is it real? Because I'm all about like real, you know? Oh, I can't lean like that too much. I'm all about real though. Excuse me, I was recently watching something last night actually where it was like a talk show of a few people talking and about some true crime. And there was a few series that they had spoken about that are on Netflix that I think I'm going to check out because I'm all about true crime, true stories, period, survival stories, just true stories. Yes, I do watch TV. I have my zoning out time where I just veg, usually with some wine, usually in the evenings, but sometimes I have my day thing or something. It's just not as often. I like to try to stay busy and I'm usually doing research and stuff like that in the daytime and then a video or whatever. So I might have been back in the day 114 Emmys. Yeah, I'll check it out for sure. I love true crime stuff. I mean, it's kind of like trying to understand the reasons why people are ticking the way they're ticking and you know, it's fascinating that people can act like that and they're just so twisted. Like it's just so brutal. I got 11 thumbs up. That's so awesome. Thanks, you guys. So, yeah, anything else that anybody wants to talk about before we on Hulu? I don't know if I get Hulu. I'd have to check that. Where's the Handmaiden's Tale on? It's probably Netflix, I'm assuming, which I do have, but I now do have cable as well. If some of you were watching actually on Tuesday when he showed up, was kind of like, oh shoot, I gotta go. But I did get a good hour in with you guys before that happened. I just find though like cable is just super negative. Cable doesn't give you the chance to think one way or the other. They kind of give it to you the way they want you to think it. You know what I mean? The way they want you to think of it. Oh, okay. You know Hulu, not about Netflix. Okay, well, I will check. I'll have to write that down. To Handmaiden Tale. I'll check it. It might not be on Netflix if it's on Hulu. I don't know. It could be on Netflix. I'll check it out, girl. I'll check and see. But I find that the news and the TV is kind of one sided. So what I do with it is I take that information and then I go and do my research on that and I see what all I can find out to give a more of a perspective of here's the story, tell me what you think. You're not here's what I found out and this has got to be true. You know what I mean? Whereas the media could kind of be misconstruing some things, elaborating some things in order to get people to come and watch and tune in and stuff like that. That's how they get paid, right? So it's understandable at the same time as it's it's misconstruing. I mean, you how can you really take the media information at face value if it's one-sided, right? Yeah, I love true stories. I mean, there's just nothing better. Did you guys recently see the survival story that I put up about Jeremy O'Sheen and Molly Wright? That was a fascinating story, you guys. I mean, here was a young couple. I will, Nancy. I will. Here was a young couple, though, traveling out to go and do some slopes, right? They were going to go skiing, and nothing, everything was fine. Nothing could have been better with them, you know? And as they're driving down the highway, they get smoked by a truck, and it literally shattered Molly Wright's vertebrae. Like, they called it internal decapitation. I mean, absolutely brutal. So she's her literally her neck was being held up by her skin and muscle, and that was it, you know? Like, if they would have moved her one wrong way, they probably would have killed her, you know? Yeah, YouTube gives us a chance to explore all the news. I totally agree. You know, kind of, yes, because I find the media is a lot one-sided. But, this Molly woman, she literally went from having a completely normal life to having to rebuild her life entirely. Like, entirely, you guys. Rebuild how to walk, rebuild how to eat, how to everything, like just anything and everything, writing, doing anything. I mean, that's just scary, right? You can't even foresee something like that happening. You're just driving somewhere and someone else's driving ability. Or you're leaving, Betsy? Sorry. You got to go wedding. 100 guests tonight. All right, honey. Your husband's yelling at you. I love you too, Betsy. So we'll see you next time, hon. Stay tuned for Tuesday if you'd like, okay? Amazing story. Yeah, I honestly was very inspired because all I could think of, you guys, was my own life and how I get down on myself thinking, how bad some things are. And then I look at a woman who went through something like that and I think, oh my gosh, like, I'm not going through anything. Really? I shouldn't even be complaining. Like, this woman, her whole life was just taken away in a second. Hello. Her name was Molly Wright, and I think it's like the third or fourth last video that I posted. I'm not too sure. It was very recent that I did this story on them, and I actually contacted her directly and asked her if I could share her story, her and her hubby, and they were just elated. What a nice woman. Like, she's just so amazing. I asked her if she could send me some pictures so that I could share some of these things. I wanted a picture of the accident. I mean, just to see the vehicle and how crumpled up it was, I felt like, wow, like, what a thing to have to go through and start all over from, having everything to nothing and then building it all again. Like, what an amazing strength story that I looked at it as completely inspiring. He did stand by her side, Nancy, the whole time. Oh, Francine, what's your name? Oh, yes. Yeah. Merci. Yes. Honestly, you guys, it was just such a lovely story to hear. This happened back in January 2016, and this was in the Denver, Colorado area, which I thought was a little ironic because that's kind of where Chris Watts is from, right? Yeah, it is on my channel, honey. Yeah. I forget what I put the title as, but you see a picture of the two of them, I think is. Yeah, it's in my playlist. Yeah, but it's honestly like, what a survival story. And then the fact that he stuck by her side the whole time. He helped her learn how to walk again. He inspired her with humor and love and just being there with her, and going through therapy and physical therapy together, and everything that he did for her. and they're still together to this day, you guys. Like, it's just amazing. It's such an amazing story to see that kind of love out there. Kind of gives me hope at the same time as I see all the crazy and I'm too scared to get involved. I'm just like, I don't know. You're good looking. You could be the next Chris Watts, like I just don't even know what the heck to think anymore. Yeah, you know what? Actually, luckily enough, there was an army lieutenant that was driving behind them. Like, he was just off duty. He just happened to be out on that same road at the same time, was in the right place at the right time. As I'm saying this, I'm getting goosebumps, you guys, because it's just phenomenal. It's like this guy was actually an emergency medicine trained lieutenant. So not only did he completely know what to do, he knew how to do it. And so he took her out of that crumpled car and laid her on the pavement, covered her up and kept her alive until 45 minutes, by the way. He kept her going until paramedics arrived to take her to the hospital. Like, and then the entire time that the lieutenant is busy with her, his name is Henry Rodriguez. His wife was busy with Jeremy, the Molly Wright's partner, consoling him and comforting him. I'm literally just getting goosebumps all up my whole body because I know how true this is. And I actually spoke with these people, and it's just like, wow, like what an amazing thing for you guys to live through. And then you know what? Like two years later, they revisited the place that they were originally going to go and do ski slopes. They got there. So 2 years before, when they were headed there and got smoked, and then it had to go through all that therapy and healing, and that 2 years later, they end up on the same slopes that they were headed to go and ski. Like, wow, like that's just amazing. I think his love helped her, to be honest with you. I think that it kept her going and alive. And he was told by the doctors to talk to her just as if she was here right now, like we're talking, even though she wasn't able to answer him or anything like that. And slowly signs began to show in her, that she was still inside. She was in a coma for like 3 months, you guys, after this happened. Like, just a phenomenal story. It makes me look at myself and reevaluate what I'm complaining about, because I don't really have much to complain about when I look at somebody going through that, I'm like, holy, that's just insane. It's amazing. And what a story of triumph and strength and love. And like, that's great. It is a miracle. I totally agree. I thought that was really empowering for us to sort of look into someone else's life for a moment and see that kind of chaos. It makes us look at our own and go, I'm really not that, it's not that bad, like I got this, So really phenomenal story. I was really impressed, that she was just so open, and she was like, she's like, I'll send you some pictures later. And like, she was just a wonderful person to get in contact with. And I am friends with her now on Facebook, with her and her hubby. Such wonderful people to sort of have in your circle or your world or whatever, right? So I was like, that's amazing. Yes, step back and feel gratitude. Absolutely, because there's so many little things to be grateful for that we take advantage of, and then you see somebody going through something like that, and it really, I think, really makes you reevaluate, right? What you think about your life and stuff. It's really not that bad, So that was a really fun story. The doctors had given her a survival of 100-1. Like, I mean, they really were not expecting her to survive, let alone come out of that coma and be able to learn how to walk and eat and talk and the whole shebang again. Like, phenomenal. So yeah, this has been really, really great again, you guys. I'm going to do this again on Tuesday as our usual day, and miracle mixed with love. Absolutely. There's just no other way to look at that. Hey, Nancy? I mean, it's just phenomenal. So yeah, I think we'll just wrap this up now. I really have to go pee. That's kind of the reason I'm like, I gotta go. But this has been really, really fun, and I really enjoy all of your guys' company. I really enjoy your support. I really enjoy your comments, your thumbs ups, your just interacting. So it's really awesome to come together, you guys, and just spend a little bit of time together, getting to know each other a little bit. Today I felt like was a lot of getting to know me. Saw my sappy side, but I do love all you guys, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day. And stay tuned for some more stories. I've got an interesting one of a girl named Amber that was killed, and so I do want to share that story with you guys. And I will definitely see you all again on Tuesday. Whoever can make it, or you're not too busy, you can tune in. That'd be wonderful. And yeah, so you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And here's to CNC with me, coffee and chat with Sherry. So you guys have a great day, and I'll see you again on Tuesday. Okay, bye for now.